Okay, so this is Procreate Pocket from Savage Interactive. And if you're a big fan of Procreate on the iPad, you probably bought this the second you saw it in the App Store. Personally, I've been waiting for this for a while for them to make a mobile version of it. And on their forum, they said back in September of 2014 that they were finally going to do this, finally going to make an iOS version, and it's finally out. It's super cool, and it's probably going to replace Adobe Ideas. I've been using Adobe Ideas to do a lot of my storyboards, quick sketches on the iPad, but now it's just going to be all Procreate Pocket. If you're not familiar with the company, they have a cool YouTube channel. One of the cool artists from there, Nico, he has a lot of cool drawings that he's done. I guess he works exclusively now with Procreate, so that's pretty cool. So let's open it up here and check it out. So the first thing you'll notice is this very cool layout on the top, very simple, not a lot of buttons. And I'm not sure if you can see it right away, but on the left and right you have these two buttons here. And this one controls the size of your brush, and this one controls the opacity of your brush. And this is something they talked about on the website. If they do a mobile version, they want it to be quick, they want it to be for sketching, they want you to get into it right away, make your ideas quickly, and then move on, you know. So this just by itself is super cool. A lot of the other apps, you'd have to go up into brushes, look through your brush, set the size for your brush, select OK, and then come back in here. And here I can change both of those things very quickly. So these two sliders are very cool. So the sliders also work with the smudge tool. So with the smudge tool, this here that was the opacity for the brush now becomes the strength of the smudge. So here I'm smudging like crazy. Let's bring it down to maybe 9%, and you can see the effect isn't as severe down here. I'll bring it back to 100, and you can see I'm totally changing that down here. One thing that I've noticed, I didn't see them talking about this, but if I scroll down, you see I'm down here to where it looks like 50%. But it's actually 23, 33. It's weird. So you can bring it down, and it's, I guess a lot of people, when they use these sliders, you really want to finesse them down here towards the lower digits. So that's pretty cool. That's a small feature that I didn't see them talking a lot about, but I caught. So also for the eraser works just like, oh, let's make it a little bigger. The eraser works just like the brush or the smudge tools. So another thing that this app does well is lets you pick a brush fairly quickly. So here I'm going to tap my brushes, and I can go to illustration, I can go to concept, boom, I tap the brush that I wanted and I can now use it. Instead of having to go, maybe, you know, select the brush and then click OK or something. That's very quick. It works the same way with the smudge tool. I can go and choose something. So concept, illustration. And then also the same with the eraser, like I just showed you guys. You can go and any apps that any brushes that you have for the other two tools, you can use as a brush for the eraser. Also, they still have the, you can still import your brushes like you can in Procreate, the Pro version. So here I have one. Now let me show you guys how I do that really quickly. I use an app called Documents. This is a free app. I think it's free if I remember correctly. So here, if you remember that artist I was talking about, Nico, I'm going to type in Nico brushes Procreate. And this app has a browser in it, and within, so here it says Nico's brushes Procreate. This is on the forum. He actually posted a list of some of the brushes that he uses. So I have that first one. Let's click this second one, and it takes us to a Dropbox link. I'm going to click download, and right here, I mean, I can name I can name the app, I can name the brush whatever I want. I'm going to click done, and now I can go. It's letting me know it's downloaded, and I'll go to my downloads. So that one I already have installed. This is the new one. So I'm going to click it. Can't open the file, but if I go up here, it says open in, and it'll give me a list of apps, and of course we want to open it in Procreate. And now I have two. This is the one I already had, this is the new one. So let's try out this new brush. That's what it looks like. Very cool. So now I have a new brush there. Okay, so now I'm going to go one by one and show you guys every single brush that comes with Procreate Pocket, the stock version. So you can see if this is, something that's going to be worth your money. So this first one is sort of like a pencil. Very cool. And we have a marker here. One thing to notice is that it starts off very fine and then it gets thicker either the faster you go or just the more you go. So if I zoom in here, you can see it, they all start very thin. Cool stuff. Okay. And this third one here is sort of it's a cool texture. Let me throw some black in there and see what that's like. So of course you can change the opacity here. So let's go here. This one's a cool one. And notice when I change the size, it gives me a preview of what that brush is. So that is cool. Let me go blue with this one. Actually, that's not a good color. I want something dark so you guys can see what it's actually doing. And take a look at the texture. That is one cool brush there. And that's with a low opacity there. Let's bring it up a little bit. Very nice. Okay. Now we have like a thick marker brush as opposed to the thin fine line one that we had earlier. And this one, let me erase before I throw some of this one down. This one seems to me like an airbrush. Add some of this color here. I'll bring the opacity. Yeah, you can see the opacity there. I'll bring the opacity down to 30. Below 30, we're in the 20s here, and it looks like an airbrush. Okay, illustration. These are very cool. Okay, that's what that looks like right there. The opacity lower. And then one cool thing to notice is right here, let me go all the way up to 100. You see how big that is? That's how big this brush is going to be. If we zoom in, and then if we zoom in and then change the color again, notice how huge that brush looks as compared to the screen. So that's actually how big your brush is now. So depending on how zoomed you are, the brush size will be appropriate to it. You see that? So it changes. So you always know exactly how big your brush is going to be. Okay, let's go. Okay, this one's another really cool one. This one's sort of a wet brush. So you can start the stroke like that, and then if you keep going, you can see it starts to fade. So I'll start from the bottom, and as I go up, I can smudge into the other one there, you see. So what you do is let me pick a darker color. Without letting go, just don't let go, and you can smudge other strokes that you've done. Okay, below that, this one is cool. It's sort of like a spray paint effect. Here I'm just tapping the screen. Let me tap it a little more, and then I can spread it wherever I want. This is a really cool brush. Okay, try the one below that. Oh, this one is nice. Let me get a nice blue here. Let me make it big. Let me drop the opacity a little bit, and this, you can do a nice sky scene with this very easily. So just get some blue, throw in some white, and I mean, this one doesn't look that good, but I mean, you can see how easy it would be to create a sky. Let me erase that. Another cool texture. It's way too dark. Okay, there we go. And this one's wet as well. So I can come up and then smudge these two. The wet brushes are very, very cool. And then the little triangle brush. This one is so cool. Let me make it a little darker. This one I think works best when it's the biggest size and a lower opacity. So I'm just throw another color in here so you can see that. Let's do red. So you see a very cool effect. So let's bring the opacity up all the way.
That's what it looks like there. Let's throw some black in there. Yeah, very cool. And that's it for the brushes that come with the program. These are the default brushes.
So the other tools at the top here are layers. I can look at my layers, and then my color picker. And on this side over here we have undo and this little lightning bolt. So here we can quickly go to the gallery. Let's go to that first and then I'll show you guys everything else. The gallery's cool, of course. It's got all of your sketches, your concepts up here. You can go to settings to duplicate something. You can send something out.
The app has really cool exporting settings, so you can export as a Procreate document, which means you can send it to your iPad and then continue working it on there with all the layers. Also, you can export to Photoshop with all the layers intact as well. JPEG and PNG. The PNG to keep all of your alpha channel, all your transparency in place. And also video recording. The video is really cool because it saves every brush stroke you make, and then at the end of it, you can actually export a time lapse of your painting. So at the end of this video, I'll have a time lapse for you guys to watch.
You can delete it. And here is where you create a new piece, a new scene, a new drawing. The cool thing about this is that you can hold it, and if you hold it, you notice a little 4K pops up. It's got a cool little animation, a little bouncy animation. I can hold that open. I guess I gotta drag, there we go, I'll drag to it. And now this, what we're looking at here is a 4K canvas. That's how long this thing is, very cool. So now let's go back to this drawing and I'll show you guys the color interface. This here is pretty cool. So if you can see this ring around here, this is your hue. This is where you pick your hue. So if you look at this disc in the middle, this will help you pick your brightness, and it will help you pick your saturation. It has a couple of cool features, this little ring here. You can actually zoom in. So this is if I want to get a little more precise when I'm picking colors. So let me pick a green over here. Okay. Now, if you want to pick something a little darker shade of it, notice at the top, this lets you know your old color that you were using and then the new color that you're using now. So I can scroll through. So let me go ahead and take this back down. Now one really cool feature of the circle is you can double tap in certain areas and it gives you a pure value of something. So here, if I double click down at the bottom, that's going to give me pure black. If I double click in this area here, it's going to give me a pure white, and if I go here, it's going to give me a green at like a full saturation. The manual that Savage Interactive has a good layout of this, so I'll just put it up on the screen right now so you guys can take a look at that. So that's just double clicking on the edge of the disc, and you can double click anywhere on it, but those special places are right here, to the left, and then at the bottom. Those will give you those pure values. Okay, so now I'll show you guys the Eyedropper tool, which is very easy to use, and it's the same as Procreate, the iPad version. You just hold somewhere, and then the little Eyedropper tool will pop up. And as you can see, it shows you the previous color selection that you had and your new color selection so that you can compare. It works just like the color selection at the top of the color interface. Now, sometimes you're drawing and then you're holding somewhere and then that'll pop up. I've never had that problem, but I've seen people online talk about that. But that's something that you can go into the settings and dictate. You can change that pretty easily. Is how long the delay is from when your finger's just sitting there to when you want the eyedropper tool to pop up. Okay, now undo. This is a big one for me because while I was drawing with this app when I first got it, I thought that it didn't have any redo function. So of course, let me throw in some red here, a bright color. So let's throw in some red. So I want to undo that. Boom, I go to undo. That's self-explanatory. But the thing that I didn't understand was how to redo, and that's actually kind of hidden. Let's add this purple in here now. So I'm adding the purple in there. Now that I see it on the painting, I don't want it. Undo. But then I see it without it. I want to redo now. So just hold the undo button, and then it goes back, and it turns it into a redo button. It's kind of hidden, but it's kind of cool. I guess it's a little cleaner at the top. I'm not sure if I would like a redo button there or not. Maybe. But that's how you do it. So now I'll talk to you guys about layers. If we go up here, you can take a look at the different layers. It's easy to use the layers. I mean, you can tap one and now it's selected. You can go into your blend modes, and that option's actually this N here. You can go into your different blend modes. It looks like a Photoshop menu. You have darken, lighten, contrast, difference, and color. And within them you have your different modes here that you can flip through. I believe it'll have every type of blend mode that you're looking for. Now you can swipe to the left and you see delete and duplicate, and I want to do neither of those. And you can swipe to the right for an alpha lock. So I took the alpha lock off there and now it's on. So this little dot on the left here, that's how you turn the layer off. Now I just turned the coloring off. Now I just have my line drawing there with a background. Let me turn all the backgrounds off. Now you can just see the line drawing against some random brush strokes. Okay, so let's talk about the adjustments really quickly here. Adjustments. These are very powerful to have within the app so that you don't have to draw whatever it is you're doing and then send it out to a photo editing app. These are very handy. So we have opacity, Gaussian blur, sharpen, that's the hue, saturation, and then brightness, and then curves. So let's go back and make sure we're on that layer with all the colors on it. So the coloring of the figure. Let's go to adjustments and then select opacity. Now we can see through all of that. And the way you control is by tapping left or right. That's the control, the main screen. So that's kind of cool. Opacity. I mean, I think you guys understand how these work. Gaussian blur, sharpen. The curves are very cool. The curves in Procreate always seem so smooth to me. So here, you can add something like that. Click X out of here. And then, of course, you have different controls here to get more in depth here. So we're changing them green. Let's make them completely green there. Okay, another cool tool is the freehand selection. One of the reasons why this is such a cool thing is because I can make a selection and a freehand selection like that, but if I want, I can go back. So let me undo that. I can start it as a kind of like a lasso selection tool here, and now I've got straight lines on it. So I can even start it as a freehand selection, and then if I let go, every time I tap again, it's going to make a straight line to wherever I tapped. And so now I have a cool looking selection. Let me do that one more time and show you another cool reason why this is such a cool selection tool. I can actually come in here and then change my selection, zoom out, and then continue like that. So that's a very powerful tool. Here you can add to your selection, you can subtract to your selection, you can invert the selection here, and then you can reset and have no selection. So here I haven't selected anything. Also, this is a cool hidden feature. If you pinch quickly, the canvas will reset to a full size to fit the full picture there. So that's cool. I was doing it sideways there. If you do it sideways, it'll fit horizontally like that. So that's a cool thing, especially even if you're zoomed in, you can do that and it'll bring it up to 100% resolution. So another thing you have up top here in the menu selection are your actions. And these are regular actions that you'd expect from a drawing app: inserting photos, taking a picture, copy, paste, and then flipping the canvas. So very cool. Another thing that I like is a little animation that you can see. I don't know if you guys can tell, but they bounce. Oh, there's a little bounce to them. So I like the animations, the small little animations that kind of are all over this app. So that's all for the Procreate Pocket review. If I have this drawing that I made in my first impressions video, which was a funny little character that my brother drew, some kind of whale superhero. I really don't know what it is, but he drew it, and then I made this better version. I have the time lapse of that, so I'll throw that up right now so you guys can check it out. That's how I'll end the video. So subscribe if you'd like. I have a lot more app reviews coming up. I also have an old Procreate review. It's a couple years old now, and it might not be as good as this one, but go ahead and check that out if you don't know what Procreate for iPad is. Also, I have some templates coming up, some storyboard templates that I'm going to make for Procreate. So I'll put up a little thumbnail here of that video, and it's not ready yet, but I'll be putting that up and I'll put it on my blog as a free download. Also, if you guys want to learn After Effects, I have some After Effects tutorials and some free giveaways, little characters that I made and other free illustrations. So stay tuned, I'll have some more reviews soon, and peace.